all about. So welcome to the orientation for how to start a farm in 6 months, focusing on the cash crop of soap. Now, if you're here and you're like, I'm not trying to make soap, I don't want to make soap, just roll with me on this, because my ultimate goal is not just to get you focused in on soap, it's to get you a farm number, okay? And to get you the $1,000 in sales in agricultural products. Now, let me back up a little bit, because I always like to start with the fact that the USDA has said already that any place that could or normally would produce $1,000 worth of agricultural products in a given year is a farm. Okay. Now I have that definition memorized, but I want you to see it for yourself. Okay. That way we can get over this. I need acres. I need a barn. We can get over all of that just in this first 5 minutes. This is the source of this definition. It is from USDA.gov. I'll make it bigger. USDA defines a farm as any place that produced and sold, or normally would have produced and sold, at least $1,000 worth of agricultural products in a given year. So that means that you can be in your one-bedroom apartment making products that are of that are agricultural in nature, and be able to get a farm number. And you're probably like, well, what difference does it make? Why do I need a farm number? Well, your farm number is kind of like your social security number. So just like your social security number gives you access to certain federal programs, your farm number gives you access to certain federal programs. And agriculture, ladies and gentlemen, is the only industry that you can enter and 2 to 3 short years later have access to millions of dollars in capital. Okay. So this is what I need you to understand. The sooner you start the process, the better, because the funds that are available via the USDA's cost share programs, AKA grant programs, loan programs, microloan programs, all of the above, is on a first come, first serve, okay, basis. So the longer you hem and haw, and the longer it takes for you to change your mindset on what a farm is and to start to take action on creating your own, the longer you put yourself and the more you delay, right? So that's why I created this How to Start a Farm in 6 months, focusing on the soap, because I know that soap is something that anybody can do in any situation. You don't have to have a backyard. You don't have to have a patio. You don't have to have land. You don't have to have a shed. You don't have to have those things. You can actually do all of this straight from your kitchen. Okay. Now you have to take certain precautions, because it's definitely a dangerous. You're in a chemistry lab when you're dealing with soap, right? You've got sodium hydroxide, you've got oils, you've got temperature, you got all of these things happening, saponification underway. So you have to make sure you take certain precautions. If you are doing it in your apartment, I wouldn't have any small children or any animals around. I would do it on a day where nobody's bothering me. Okay. That's how I would approach this. But basically, you can do it from anywhere. Now, that having been said, does anybody have any questions before I move forward? Feel free to come off mute. If you don't want to come off mute, you can drop your question in the chat.
Quick question. You said sales. That means actual sales. It has to equivalent to $1,000. Correct.
That is correct. And this is
like
why
we have to sell $1,000 worth of product, or make $1,000 worth of.
That is correct.
Okay.
You have to sell it. We're going to sell it. Like we're going to create it and we're going to sell it. And here's why. In some cases, that's not required. And let me explain that. The USDA, the folks at Farm Services Agency, and Farm Services Agency is where you get your farm number. It's a free number. Okay. The folks at the Farm Services Agency recognize that if you've got 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, if you walk in there and you ask them for a farm number, they'll give it to you. They won't have any questions. They won't ask you anything. They're just going to be like, okay, they're going to look you up and they're going to see your parcel of land, and they're going to give you the 80-20-47, which is the customer data worksheet. You're going to fill it out and show them your ID. And a couple of weeks later, you're going to get a farm number. Without even having a tomato plant planted, you can do that. I did that. Okay. Why I'm doing this class and why I'm training you guys to get your $1,000 produced and sold is because you are in a non-traditional space most of the time, most likely. You are in a residential house, you are in an apartment, you are in a condo, you're in a townhouse. And when you go to Farm Services Agency and you're in a non-traditional place, they're going to give you a little bit of trouble. 9 times out of 10, the person has never had to use that code. Now, what code am I talking about? Well, let me show you. Because I've gone through a lot of trainings in the last 3 years since I started my farm. And in one of them, I asked specifically, what is the code that's used for people who are in non-traditional farms? And I'm going to share that with you. If I can find the email. So let me open the email and we will see here. Go to the email. All right. So hopefully we didn't throw it away because we do keep our email cleaned out. Let me see if it's over here in Farm Services. See here. I may have to find it. I should have had it pulled up before. No, it's in my inbox. Let me go over here and see. There was an email that I had. So one of the trainers at one of these trainings that I went to on how do you know, what is this? Let me just search the word code. And it's from a long, long time ago. So it may have gotten recycled somewhere. And matter of fact, let me just go check my trash. I don't think we've gotten rid of anything in the trash yet. It was definitely a little code, a specific code that is used with non-traditional farms. Oh, okay. Y'all are gonna have to just trust me on this. I'm gonna have my VA go back and find it because I know it's in here somewhere. But at the end of the day, if you are in a non-traditional space, the person at the Farm Services Agency, when you walk in the door, they're not gonna know about this little code. The lady that sent me the email had to go ask what it was. She said, "Let me get back with you on that." And she replied back, "You'll have to ... And when I find that, I'll make sure I share it with you guys. But bottom line, this 6-month program that we're about to do with this How to Start a Farm in 6 months, we're going to go ahead and position you so that you get those agricultural products produced and sold so that you don't have to worry about it. Now, let's talk about agricultural products because that's another thing that's a big point of contention for a lot of people. A lot of you guys are real like analytical, like myself, and you want to know, okay, so give me the list of the agricultural products and, you know, so that I can be compliant, you know, all of my A-type personalities, you know who you are. You want the list of agricultural products so that you can know what agricultural products you can produce. There is no such thing, okay? I have reached out, as you can see here, to the USDA asking, can you point me to the USDA definition of an agricultural product? He responded back and CC'd someone else and says he apologized for the delay. It took him about a week, but he explained that here's where you go to get the definition if you're in the trade space. We're not in the trade space, but this is as close as he could get, right? You come over here to reference info, definitions, agricultural products, and here's this big humdinger of a definition. Agricultural products include raw goods from the farm as well as those that have undergone processing. Thus, the range of goods includes fresh fruits and vegetables and unprocessed bulk commodities like soybeans, rice, and raw cotton, to intermediately processed products like flours, vegetable oils, hides and skins, as well as consumer-ready processed foods and beverages like sausages, baked goods, and da-da-da-da-da. This here is important to note. USDA's definition of agricultural products follows the World Trade Organization internationally recognized definition of agricultural products for the purpose of reporting international trade. This does not apply to you. This does not apply to me. So he went on, because that didn't apply, he went on to say, as far as other USDA programs, though one would hope that there is a unified definition of what an agricultural product is throughout USDA, unfortunately, that's not the case, okay? So if you are one of those people who needs a list of all of the agricultural products listed out A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, you're not going to get it, okay? Because the USDA doesn't even have it, okay? So here's a report that was done by Congress, okay? Because it was very much clear that nobody was on the same page when it came to this definition. I quote, No consistent official definitions exist of agricultural commodity or of other closely related terms such as agricultural product, farm product, and others. The table in this report, which will not be updated, provides a broad but not necessarily complete listing of these terms as they are defined throughout the agriculture and conservation titles of the United States Code, Title 7 and 16, respectively. So he goes on to provide these code, this detailed, look at this particular congressional report. But here's where I want to kind of imbue some entrepreneurial spirit into the room. Okay. Entrepreneurs typically ask for forgiveness before begging for permission. Okay. I really wouldn't have gone and asked that question to him to document it. I really didn't care. I was good with knowing an agricultural product being something that came from agriculture, because the entrepreneur in me knows better than to go asking a whole bunch of questions and having the potential to get not the answer that I want, right? But I have a TikTok following, and on that TikTok following, I had a very good question asked, what is the list? And it kept coming up. So I said, you know what? I'm going to have to deal with this. So I went ahead and sent the email. I did a part 1, I had part 2. If you're on my TikTok, you saw that. So that's why I ended up getting this email that I got. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked. Why? Because I have been processing rabbit fertilizer. Okay. I have been processing rabbit fertilizer since 2019, and I don't have any rabbits. I didn't want to go and ask this man what an agricultural product was and find out that I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. I knew, though, that farmers typically use other farmers' inputs to create a final product, and that they sold that final product as their own. Similarly, I said, okay, well, guess what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my farm, take this rabbit fertilizer. I don't have any rabbits. I'm going to take this rabbit fertilizer, and I'm looking for it. There we go. I'm going to take this rabbit fertilizer, and I'm going to bring it to the farm. I'm going to take it from Miss Pat. Miss Pat's in Christiana, Tennessee. I'm going to bring it to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, in my trunk of my car in contractor trash bags. And I'm going to sit the boys outside, and I'm going to give them a blender that I got from the yard sales. And they're going to pulverize this poop down into powder. And I'm going to go to uline.com, and I'm going to get an account started, a net 30 account, so I can build my business credit. And I'm going to get these coffee bags, and I am going to
what about it?
Get the craft coffee bags with the window. And guess what? I'm going to put my rabbit poop in it.
I will put you back.
I'm going to sell it.
Be quiet.
Oh, I ain't know nothing about that. No.
Be quiet.
Let me see if I can get everybody to mute.
Who?
No.
All right. There we go. Somebody is getting in trouble. Okay. So this is how I did it. I went, and like I said, I brought a raw product from another place. I got an account at Uline. And if you recognize this bag right here, this is my bag that I chose to go with. If you recognize that bag, you'll see it right here in this thumbnail. Let me kind of make it a little bit bigger. And that is my product. That is my rabbit fertilizer. Okay, right there. And you see that little sticker and this ink stamp? I got the ink stamp from Vistaprint. I got the sticker from, it's just like an Avery label from Staples. I went and got it analyzed at a lab so that it could be compliant and be put on the shelves at stores, and I was in business. I filed my first Schedule F in 2019 and 2020, 2021, and my third one in 2023. If you've been following me long enough, why is that significant? Why is that important that I have filed 3 years of my Schedule F? Anybody? Anybody want to take a stab?
So you'll be eligible to get the loans.
Come on, April. Okay. Somebody's been doing their homework. Okay. You're not going to get to USDA money unless you follow USDA underwriting guidelines. And one of those guidelines is you have to have 3 years of experience as a farm. That's why I'm trying so fervently to get people to move their feet with a cash crop, with any cash crop. I don't want you to wait until you have land. I don't want you to wait until you are able to find some place to grow your herbs. I don't want you to wait on that. I want you to sign up for my class, and over the next 6 months, allow me to guide you in the creation and establishment of your farm. I'm going to get your sales done. We're going to reverse engineer this thing all the way, because that's how I do things. I don't get into here's the thing. You always want to find your customer before you start making your product. A lot of small businesses get in trouble because they create their product and then they get mad when won't nobody buy it. And the reason they get mad is because they put a lot of their heart, soul, and time into it, and they put a lot of quality into it, and they know they've done everything to make it good, but the one thing they forgot is their market research. Who wants it, right? So with me and you in this class that's about to happen, I've already pretty much identified our niche audience, okay? Our niche audience are people who have skin-related issues, skin-related eczema. Eczema apparently is 8 different types of issues. It's not just a one, type of a thing. There's 8 different types of eczema. And it's very frustrating for people who have it and deal with it. And it typically is as a result of some type of a immune response, and it could be food, environmental. There's a whole bunch of different things that contribute to eczema. But at the bottom line, it is the symptoms of eczema are the rash and the itchiness and the this and the that. It's not just your dry skin. It's more than that. And it can affect your quality of life. Why is this important? Because these are what I'm describing are called pain points, okay? It's one thing where you want to fix your credit. Oh, you know what? I might put it off. I don't really need to fix my credit. But when you get ready to buy a house, right? You get your stuff in order. You go pay stuff off. You take action, right? It's one thing to make a bar of soap, okay? For just anybody, cute, pretty bar of soap. But it's another thing to develop a bar of soap specifically with herbs, oils, emollients that are proven to help with these inflammation types of situations. So that's the difference. With this class, what we're targeting is an audience who has a pain point. I've got family members that have dealt with eczema, and it is not fun. You have to keep trying stuff, and this don't work, and that don't work, and this don't work. So I've already identified the target audience. We don't even have to go through that. The next step is I'm going to continue to do some reconnaissance, and we're going to be doing that in the How to Start a Farm in 6 months. We're going to be going into these, 62,000 people in this eczema support group, okay? And if you don't have Facebook, I'm sorry, it's not going to work, okay? If you're afraid of social media, I'm sorry, it's not going to work, okay? You have to have social media if you're trying to build a farm, period, okay? There is no other way about it, right? So we're going to go into these Facebook groups. We're going to do our reconnaissance. We're going to figure out exactly what the real pain point is, and we're going to solve it. Now, I've already done the research at the NIH, the National Institute of Health. They have an abstract that they've written up about medicinal plants that have been used in the treatment of skin inflammation. I've already researched the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine, the most recent edition, and identified 30 plus herbs, trees, and bushes that have been known since biblical times to address these types of issues. I know what their major constituents are. So this is all research that you're going to have access to as a part of the class, right? Because one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to get in trouble with the FDA, okay? We don't want to get in trouble with the FDA when it comes to cosmetics. Well, soap is not a cosmetic, by the way, okay? Let me make sure we go into their site, cosmetics labeling, so we can read it together, because I'm a big fan of doing my research, okay? I'm not going to ask for permission. I'm going to do my research, and if it's not in black and white, and if it says I can't, if it's something that's, if I don't find, anything in black and white that says I cannot do a thing, I'm not finna call nobody up and ask them, is that correct? I'm going to leave it at whatever they put out here, okay? So when it comes to labeling, I want you to see here, I just had it the other day. Let me make sure I go back. Now, soap is not a cosmetic, and it says it here, everything except soap. Let me just Google it so I can get to that exact page. Hold on with it, and I will get to it like this. Add soap there so I can get to that right page. Okay, that's not it. Okay, that's not it. Let me see here. Or am I still on the FDA? And that's another thing. Always check your sources. Summary of cosmetic labeling. Da 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 da. Move out the way. All right. Defines cosmetic as articles intended to be applied to the human body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance without affecting the body structure. Included this definition are products such as skin creams, lotions, perfumes, lipsticks, fingernail polishes, eye and facial makeup, preparation shampoos, permanent waves, hair colors, da 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 da. Soap products consisting primarily of an alkali salt of fatty acid and making no label claim other than cleansing of the human body are not considered cosmetics under the law. So where you get in trouble, okay, and this is on the FDA.gov website's summary cosmetics labeling requirement. Let me go ahead and copy it and drop it in the chat. Because like I said, I'm going to do the research, but am I going to call the FDA up and ask for further clarification? No, that's not what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs do the research. This is what I needed to see right here. Soap products consisting primarily of an alkali salt of fatty acid and making no label claim other than cleansing the human body are not considered cosmetics under the law, period. Now, I got to go deeper on this primarily of an alkali salt of fatty acid. That's, I believe what they're referring to are your oils, okay? Because soap is made up of lye and some mixture, lye and water, lye and goat milk, right? And then that mixture is combined with your fats, which are your oils, okay? If you've got animals on farm and you want to actually use the fat from the animals, you can use that. Or if you're using, olive oil, you want to stay away from palm oil. There's a whole bunch of environmental stuff that's going on with that. Even the palm oil that is responsibly sourced still could be leaning on problematic, and people may not want to buy from you, even if you're using that. That's what I've learned in my research. But that's where those fats are coming from. So I'm gonna probably do a little bit more research on that. But the bottom line is, so long as you're not claiming that your soap is going to heal somebody's eczema or make their eczema better, then you're good to go. What you do need to do in your marketing, and what we will be doing in our marketing, is calling it all natural. And why will we be calling it all natural? Because it is. We are not, in this class, we're not going to use fragrance oils. I repeat, we're not using fragrance oils. Fragrance oils are the stuff that make the synthetic chemicals that make your soap and other cosmetic products smell good. In place of that, we're going to use essential oils. Essential oils aren't as pungent of a fragrance as your fragrance oils are, because those are chemicals. Essential oils are derived from plants. So they're going to have that fragrance, but that fragrance is probably going to dissipate a lot faster than the fragrance oil would, just because it's not a chemical, right? So you have to be careful with that when it comes to the marketing and whatnot, and have an expectation set with your consumer that this fragrance may diminish over time because it's an all-natural product. It doesn't have any chemicals in it. So as long as the consumer knows what to expect from your product up front, then they're going to be okay. It's when they don't know what to expect is when they have a problem, right? So all we're going to do is market this as a natural soap, all natural soap. And if you are like me, you will continue watching a lot of YouTube videos on dermatologists who are teaching about eczema. I've learned a lot about eczema in the last, week in preparation for this cash crop. So let's talk about the numbers. What I plan on doing is replacing my income with farm income. Right now, I have a couple of other businesses. I don't, they're driving me crazy. I'm stressed out. I'm sitting on the computer all day. and I want to be outside. I want to be growing things. I want to be raising things. I'm turning into my mother, basically. Okay. So in order for that to happen, however, I got expenses. I still got debt. I got a mortgage. I got a car note. I got things I need to be able to pay for, and I'm not ready to rough it. And even when I do homestead full time, I still want granite countertops. Okay. I'm not roughing it. Okay. I'm not going to rough it. Okay. And because I'm not going to rough it, that means I need some money. Right. And I need money that's constantly coming in. So in order for me to have that happen, I have got to figure out a way to make these farm products make money. Okay. So what did I do? I created this calculator. So this calculator, and you get one of these when you're enrolled in the class, okay? You can buy it separately. So if you decide you don't want to enroll in the class, but you want this calculator, I got you on that. So what this calculator does is, I've gotten used to the $10,000 a month, okay? I've gotten used to that, okay? So I want to figure this farm thing out with that, right? So I know that I'm not going to be able to sell $10,000 worth of rabbit fertilizer every month. It's just not going to happen. So what I knew I had to do is come up with a way. And then Booker T. Watley helped me with this too, because God rest his soul, he was a champion of the small farmer. And as a matter of fact, I've got a picture of him up on my wall. And his book, How to Make $100,000 on 25 Acres, that was written back in the 80s, is now worth several $100s. When I started my farm, I bought it on Amazon for 30. Okay. So this book is something that I'll go ahead and pull it up so that you can see it and get it. Because if you don't have it, you're going to want it, and the price is going to continue to go up because I don't know if they're printing anymore. And it's called there it is. I've searched for it so much. Start a farm, how to make, let me go back. $100,000. And this was back in, 1980 something, right? Booker T. Watley's Handbook on How to Make $100,000, 1988. $299. $299, and I was going to pull mine out, but it's not readily accessible. It's somewhere in all this stuff. Mine was $30. Okay. In this book, he has 10 commandments that every small farmer, meaning anybody that's not big ag, okay, if you don't have 100 acres, this is for you. 10 commandments that every small farmer must ensure and should adhere to is to have 10 cash crops, not just one. So when I developed this calculator, it was out of that knowledge that I gained from Dr. Booker T. Watley, who you need to study, you need to understand who he is, you need to know what influence he had on small farming. He hated big ag, everything that's happening right now in agriculture. He predicted it in 1988. He is the grandfather of the CSA, Community Supported Agriculture. He called his a clientele membership club. We're going to talk about that and get yours started as well during this 6 months. But that's the reason why I created the 10 cash crops. The calculator with the 10 cash crops. So I knew that I was going to need more than just rabbit poop. So I said, okay, let me do rabbit poop. I'm going to do that. And I sell that by the pound. And none of this yellow stuff is anything shaded in yellow can't be edited. And I said, my next cash crop is going to be soap. All right. I'm going to sell that by the ounce. Okay. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and do candles while I'm doing soap, because you might as well. Right. And I didn't say this in this How to Start a Farm in 6 Months class. It's all focused on soap. And if you have the class already, you need to get this book, Pure Soap Making, and then the Everything Soap Making book. Class starts on Monday. And then there's the hot and cold process, the supply list. Okay. Just click on there and it'll tell you what to get. Okay. Now, everything that, let me go back over here to the calculator. So this is what my rundown is looking like so far. And then I'm going to go like this and get me some tanks and do some tilapia and catfish, because guess what? People got to eat. Miss Fannie Lou Hamer said it. She's my other inspiration heroine, right? If you haven't looked up Fannie Lou Hamer, you need to know who she is, okay? I need you to Google her once we get off of this call. I need you to go to YouTube. I need you to watch her testimony. She was a farmer from Mississippi. All she wanted was a right to vote. And she never did get it, I don't believe, but she went through a lot on that journey. But at the end of the day, even though she didn't get what she wanted, she said, we still have to eat. And so she went back to Mississippi and she created the pig bank. Okay. So you need to get up to speed on her, because farming is essential to her story. And she really made it clear that no matter how desperate your situation may be, people still need to eat. And so she went back to the business of feeding people. And so if you're trying to make money on a farm, then you need to have that as a component on there as well. Now, everybody can't do tilapia and catfish tanks in their backyard, and I understand that. That's why we're starting out where we're starting out with the soap. I'm starting everyone off on the same footing, no matter if you've got land or if you don't. I'm just showing you my journey, right? So I know that this is what my first set of cash crops is going to look like. We're going to go ahead and hit the oyster mushrooms for the vegans, because that's their chicken. They got to eat, okay? So I know this is kind of what my 6 crops is looking like. I know I want to get to 10 grand, but I got to figure it out, and I'm going to reverse engineer that thing. So I'm going to come over here to my cash crop number 1, and I'm going to work it out and try to figure out how much am I going to need to sell this stuff for in order to make a profit. So my rabbit poop is free. And you notice this calculator has a category for plants, fungi, livestock, and value add. So if you're selling cows, you would put your supplies and equipment costs here in that column. If you're doing oyster mushrooms or lion's mane or whatever, you would put all your supplies and equipment expenses there in the fungi column, and likewise for plants, flowers, and anything else like that. But I'm in the value add. Value add are things that you've taken from raw and you're producing a product out of. So that's your jams, your jellies, your soaps, and all of those types of things. So if I was doing catfish, it would be in this livestock column, but I would go to another tab down here at the bottom. There's only 1 cash crop per tab. So my rabbit poop is free. All I gotta do is go get it, okay? Gas, run me about 30 bucks. I'm gonna come down here. I needed blenders. I got those from a yard sale. I got 2 of them for 40 bucks. I need bags. How much were they at Uline? Where's my Uline tab at? I thought I had it open. Let's go back and find it. There we go. So my Uline bags, my white at 250 bags was 52. Let's see the craft bags. I'm gonna make sure I'm looking at the right one. The 1 pound. Yeah. The 1 pound craft bags with the, whatchamacallit, I think this is the one I got, the 1 pound, yeah. Let's see how much that was. So that was 47 for, let me see here, how much did it say? $47 for, oh, that was the 250 count. That was the plain front. I think mine were more than that. Let's just call it 100 bucks, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put 100 bucks. And then I needed this, the stamp, so I could stamp the Out the Mud Farm on there. That was 20 bucks from Vistaprint. And then I needed my stickers, which were my Avery stickers that I put on the front, which is my logo. So that was what, 30 bucks for a box of 100. And then my logo at Fiverr, that cost me what, 25 bucks, right? That's my equipment. My labor was, I was paying the boys $15 an hour to do the bags, right? And I also cut them in on the profit at the farmer's market. So it would take us probably, say, 10, 15 hours to do a haul, because they would start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. So I'm going to say the $15 an hour, I'm actually going to do 30 an hour because I have 2 sons that were working. I'm sorry, the hours were 15. That's the number of hours. And the hourly rate, I'm going to do it 30 because it's 2 of them, right? So $450 for the labor and your profit margin. So I set this calculator up so that you could determine what you wanted your profit margins to be. So it is my rule that if you are going to be under my tutelage, okay, that you don't sell anything under a 35% margin. The margin is the spread, okay, between your expenses and your profits. So I'm not gonna, if I'm coaching you, you're not gonna make less than 35% profit margin. Preferably, you're going to be making more. But with this, I'm Gucci because the rabbit fertilizer is free. So I'm gonna leave it at 35%, right? Then I'm gonna come up here, and I know those bags that I just priced over at Uline, this was 250 counts, okay? So this is not the right bag, by the way, but I'm just, for time's sake, gonna just go with it. But the bags that I got were 100 count because they had the little windows and they were a little bit more expensive. So with this group of supplies, I can make 100 units. So I come up here, and this was normally a 1. When you get this calculator, there will be a 1 there by default, right? And because there's a 1 there by default, it would say that I would need to charge $1,078 per bag of rabbit poop. But we're going to fix that by changing that to the actual quantity that I'm actually able to produce, which is 100. So I need to charge $10.79 for my rabbit fertilizer in order to ensure that I get a 35% profit margin. Well, let's hop right back over to the retail tab and let's see what that did to the front page towards my $10,000 goal. Well, since I got 10,000 up here, this calculator is going to tell me how many bags of rabbit poop I need to sell at $10.79. It's also going to tell me how many customers I need in my database in order to sell 927 bags of rabbit poop. Why? Because in sales, 1 out of every 5 things is going to happen. That's 20%. I've been in sales my whole life, if you cannot tell. So 1 out of every 5 means I got to figure out, if I got to sell 927 is 20% of what number? It's 20% of 4,634. The calculations are already done for you. All you got to do is input the numbers. So if you're waiting to get into farming because you want to replace your income and you're making good money where you are and you can't see yourself transitioning into farming because you can't lead as good money, then guess what? Now you at least have a tool that will help you be able to plan that journey, right? So now let's introduce this second soap thing. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I'm going to do one more just so you can get a feel of how this thing works. So I've already done cash crop number 1. Like I say, 1 per tab. I'm going to cash crop number 2 now. Now we're going to talk about soap. I'm going to need some lye, some sodium hydroxide. I'm going to call that, I'm just going to make up numbers. I haven't run my numbers yet on how much all this stuff is going to cost. I'm going to need my essential oils. And here's another thing. Because I'm targeting this specific audience, I know as an entrepreneur that you get what you pay for, okay? Most people making soap, every video I have heard on soap making is encouraging the beginner to make sure that you start with these essential oils because essential oils are expensive and you're just getting started. So you want to start small. That's not what we're doing, okay? We're not doing that. I love that everybody else is doing that because it gives me a spot in the marketplace, right? I like to, if you know anything about football, I'm gonna digress real quick. If you know anything about football, hold on, I think it's this one. I like to go up the middle, okay? I like to skip this ad. And I'm going to show you what I like to do when it comes to starting a business. That is not it. Is this it? Nope, that's not it. So let me go and show you. I like to sneak up the middle. I'm not going to do what everybody else is doing. I didn't do it in real estate. I didn't do it when I got into the notary space, and I dang sure ain't doing it in the farming. If you tell me, if you say everybody's doing this and everybody's doing that, then your girl is going to automatically do it different, okay? Because if you do everything just how there we go. This is what I wanted you to see. I sneak up the middle.
Farming as a business. And anytime I start a business, what I want to do is I want to find the gap. Like I want to find the hole. Like I don't want to do the same thing that everybody else has been doing. I want to find the hole and sneak up the middle and get in where I fit in, so to speak.
That part, okay? I'm not gonna get the cheapest essential oils and just get a couple of molds. I'm gonna get the molds that I can do to where I can get me 250 units out in these next 6 months because I need X number of dollars, and I'm selling my bars, my 4.5 ounce, 1 inch by 1 inch or whatever bars at $10 or whatever it is a piece. And I want the best essential oils that I can find from wherever I can find them from. And if that means I've got to hawk, borrow, and steal to get it, then guess what I'm going to do? Because my soap is going to be the best quality soap that you can find this side of the Mississippi. That's the attitude and approach we're taking in this How to Start a Farm in 6 Months class, selling this soap to these targeted audience, okay? This is how we're going to do this. You know what everybody else is doing. When you start watching all, and no shade, that's fine. But as an entrepreneur, when you hear people on these YouTube channels telling you how to make soap and how to start small and how to buy the cheap stuff and how to do this, that is opportunity. That is this video that we just watched knocking at your door. Everybody is doing it. Everybody is cost conscious. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. Or if they're not cost conscious, they're aesthetic conscious. What do I mean by that? They're swirling the little pink things in the soap and they're getting the sprinkles on the soap and they're making the soap pretty and that. I don't care what my soap looks like, because when I get my soap in the hands of the dermatologists, when I get my soap in the hands of my family members and friends who are struggling with eczema, when I get my soap in the hand, they ain't gonna care what it looks like, because it's going to help them. How do I know? Because of the research, because of the herbs, because of the essential oils. Am I going to claim it? No, I'm not. So that's what this 6 months is going to look like. It's going to look like us developing a product, and no, you're not going to be able to go cheap on this product. You're going to have to do what you need to do to invest in the essential oils, to invest in the goat's milk, okay? Because we're not making lye water we're not using lye water for our soap. Okay, let me get this off of, let me show my face. Okay, we're not doing what everybody else is doing. Folks, you're using lye water because it's cheap. But baby, if you have never had a bar of goat's milk soap lather in your hands, you do not know what's missing. You add that to the essential oils and the decoctions that we're going to put into, child, this bar of soap that we're about to make, okay, is going to be a premium bar of soap. And speaking of which, I've done my research, but I want you to do it for yourself. Go to Amazon and look at what people are paying to get a skin-friendly bar of soap. Shocked me woke, okay? So there are only a few brands that are specifically marketing, they're marketing themselves as soap, as eczema soap, right? Do you see this? $22.99. Okay. So what I did was I went to these $8.99. When's the last time you paid $8.99 for a bar of soap? Never. Okay. Note the ounces, 3.5 ounces. Okay. So when I tell you, you have to target on a niche audience. You're not just making pretty soap. You're not making curly Q soap. We're not doing that. Okay. It's not how you make money. You make money by targeting an audience. But I got off track. Go here, look at the ones. Go to the one reviews. This is how you do your research. You go here, you pull up the reviews, and you start them from the bottom. There's 2,700 and some odd views. I don't want the 5 stars. I want the 1 stars. I've read them already, right? So do this, okay? You have to put in that work. But if you're in my group coaching, guess what? For 6 months, I've already done most of it with you, and we're going to hit the ground running, start to make soap, okay? Now, the class itself is going to be videos on Monday. The video is going to be unlocked. Tuesday of next week, we're going to have a live Q&A, okay? Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, more videos, quizzes, because you've got to get your stuff together. You've got to get your supplies ordered. You got to get the knowledge that you need in order to be able to make sure you're doing things safely. So there's going to be quizzes, right? To make sure you know, should you pour the lye into the water, or should you pour the water into the lye? Raise your hand if you know the answer to that question. Soap makers, raise your hand if you know the answer to that question. GP, are you with me?
Oh yeah, I sure do.
What's the answer?
You pour the lye into the water slowly, little bit by little bit.
Thank you. And why
Yes,
is that?
ma'am. So, well, if you're gonna have it, you can have ice in it too, because it'll heat up.
That part. If you do it the other way and pour the water into the
Oh,
lye,
that's
you create
a mess.
come on, okay?
That's an accident waiting to happen. And keep
That's
that window open.
That's correct. And I'm actually going to set mine up outside, and I'll show y'all my setup in the training. So these videos that are going to be a part of the 6-month class are going to be that stuff, right? And so we're going to have 2 live sessions every month where we're going to be in production. You're going to be making it with me. I'm going to be making it with you. Okay. So that's how this 6 months is going to work. Now we're also going to develop a wait list. We're going to be in these Facebook groups, these eczema specific Facebook groups, being a fly on the wall. We're not going to go in these folks groups causing no problems. We're not going to act like we're getting ready to sell something. We're just going to be in the group and we're going to search where, when, why, and how. We're going to use those words to search to see what questions people are asking. So we're going to get even further niche down, right? Because the riches are in the niches, right? Let's go back to this calculator and then I'm going to let you guys go. I don't want to keep you all night. So back to this calculator, because y'all, I did this calculator. I was so proud of myself when I got done with this calculator. I did not know what to do, okay? So the second cash crop is soap. Essential oils, like I said, we're not going cheap. We need lye, we need essential oils, we need alcohol, rubbing alcohol to help with the soda ash. We need, is that how you spell alcohol? It looks funny. We need lye. So we're gonna need goat's milk. I'm gonna show you how to source goat's milk. Okay. You need your fats. Okay. So that's gonna be your oils. Okay. The lye mixture. We're gonna do lye and goat's milk. I'm gonna show you how to find a local farmer who's got goat's milk, and then we're gonna have that as the mixture, and then we're gonna mix that with our oils. Now, if you have a farmer who's going to let you have their tallow, which is the fat from an animal, then good for you. You can render that fat, and that is going to be a bad bar soap, honey. When I tell you that hardness of that soap, it doesn't get any harder than when you use the fat from an animal, right? But if you can't use the fat from an animal, then you're going to just source some olive oil. We're going to stay away from that palm oil, even though palm oil is something that you'll see in a lot of recipes. Like I say, there's some environmental concerns with palm oil, even the palm oil that's been responsibly harvested. It's rainforest stuff, and you just want to stay out of that, okay? So that's that. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. But then you come down here to equipment, and you need your safety glasses, you need your bowls, you need your measuring cups, you need your utensils, which include things like your whisks. You need your strainers. You need your digital thermometer. Everything on that list. And I'm not going to be. This is not going to be all inclusive. I'm just, that's how you do it. And you come over here and you put how much it's going to cost. And the bowls are going to cost $30. Go to the Goodwill this weekend. That's what I'm doing. I went and got my measuring cups from the Dollar Tree. All in at the Dollar Tree. I spent $31 and got all of this stuff, most of it anyway. So we're just going to call this, $1.25. Utensils, you might end up spending $5 at the Dollar Tree on that. Strainers, I got 2 of those. That was $2.50. Digital thermometer is going to run you about $30. And then on and on and on and on and on. Okay, so let's pretend like that's all of the supplies. You need more than that. You need gloves, right? You need an apron. Okay, you need whatever else. So figure it all out. That's what you need. So there are your expenses. Now you need to determine how much soap, how many bars would you be able to produce with this amount of product that you're ordering, right? And let me put the goat's milk soap expense on there. That's probably going to run you about $50 for a couple of gallons. The alcohol is going to run you $2. The fats and the oils is going to be pricey. We're going to call that $100. Okay. So we got a $452 in supplies. We got another $128.75 in equipment. And here is something very important. Most people, and I see you in the chat. I'm sorry, I don't see if there's some questions. Is this sheet available somewhere so we can follow along? No, it's available for purchase. Okay. Now you can get it if you're getting in the class. You're going to get a copy of it, or you can buy it without getting in the class, and I'll show you how to do that. Yes, Teresa, they will pay. The health and wellness space will appreciate it. Yes. I must be missing something. Was this list of supplies to buy? John, that's actually, I'll make sure you have it before we leave. That's actually in the class. When you get inside, then you click the hot process and the words hot process or cold process, and it'll give you the hyperlinks to them both. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and drop those in the chat right now so that you guys can have them. And then I will get back to the calculator. So there is the cold process, and here is the hot process. Grab those out of the chat, guys, and so you can have the list if you're interested in joining us. And here is the hot process. Okay, now let's get back to this calculator and then we'll wrap it up. Now, so on to the labor. Yes, S. Floyd-White, you have a question?
Yes, I'm sorry, and I may be jumping ahead just a little bit. And first, thank you so much for doing this. I'm familiar with you from the notary space, so I've just kind of followed into the farming space and everything. And it's always been an interest. But I just really quick, because the soap thing is so far away off center from what my initial interest is in having a farm and having a product. So I was just wondering if you know of a situation where, like you said, just kind of run up the middle kind of thing. If it's $1,000 minimum to even qualify for like these government resources, is it possible through alliances? I'm gonna go and buy $250 worth of your stuff. I'm gonna buy $250 worth of this person's stuff. I'm gonna buy $250 over here, and then at the end of that, we have invested $1,000, and now I have $1,000 worth of sales to show the government, because I really enjoyed the business piece of this.
Right.
But the whole soap thing and lye and water and girl, that ain't my ministry at all. I would none of that chemical stuff in my kitchen.
I totally get it. The only challenge with that is the government definition. That's the only challenge is produced, that part, right? So you're on the business side and I love it. But the definition of a farm, we're already skating on it when it comes to doing it out of an apartment, right? So the any place that could or normally would produce and sell 1,000, that's where I think that would be a challenge in what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and we might be able to accomplish what you need accomplished, which is getting to the business side of it by you partnering with somebody, right? By you saying, hey, look, I don't want to deal with this. I'm not trying to have saponification happening in my kitchen, okay? I am interested, however, in going after some of these government programs, especially some of the set-aside money at sam.gov for these agricultural businesses. We hadn't even got to that yet. So it may be beneficial for you to start exploring a partnership with someone who is willing to do that production side, because that's the one thing we can't exclude from this equation, right? You can't buy your way in, so to speak. But I hear you. I know this might not be it. And if it's not, I get it. I'm just hoping people will bear with me and just do the soap and just let me get them their $1,000. And then after that, you can just do away with it. But there are other things that you could do. You could do herbs. I just haven't found a cash crop. I'm sorry, I haven't found a niche audience that will get you there unless you find some herbs and maybe in the culinary space. Edible flowers are very, very much in demand from your higher end chefs. So if you live in a metropolitan area and you have the capability to grow things like nasturtiums, then the high end chefs are going to be beating your door down. If you want to do microgreens, you can do those in a spare bedroom on a 5-rack shelf. You can do the research on that. People are doing $500 a week off of a 5-rack shelf. So there's other things that you can do. It just so happens that I know for sure I can get you to $1,000 in 6 months with the soap. That's the only reason. But I hear you loud and clear. Anybody else? Okay, so let's go back over here to this calculator real quick and we'll finish up. So we've got cash crop number 2 in, and here's where I was going to stop. People don't put their time in. Most small businesses don't account for how much time it took them to do the thing. They don't even put labor into their pricing. We're not doing that. Okay, no, we're not doing that. Now, are we going to be able to charge ourselves what we would normally demand in the marketplace? Probably not. So if this first batch or if this amount of supplies allows me to do, 2 batches, and that 2 batches takes me 10 hours because I'm new. Let's just say it takes me 2 hours. And then let's just say it takes me another, you got to wait several weeks for it to cure, and then you got to go back and you're cleaning them up, and you're making them look good, and you're labeling them. All of that time, all combined, let's say all of that comes to 15 hours. So I'm going to put 15 hours here. Now, the hourly rate that I would normally demand if I was doing my highest and best service as a real estate broker or as a consultant or whatever would be near $100 an hour. But I can't put that here, okay? So instead, what you have to do if you get this calculator is you have to put the hourly rate that you would be willing to pay someone to do this for you. Now, this is not just, tying shoelaces. This is a little complex. So you're not going to pay anybody $7 an hour and expect to get a good result, right? So this particular hourly rate, I would expect to pay somebody $20 an hour to do this, okay? So if it's going to take me 15 hours And I would reasonably expect to pay somebody 20 hours to do it if I was hiring someone to do this for me. Then we're looking at $300. I'm going to keep my margins at 35, but I can adjust them. So let's go up to the top and let's see what I need to be charging. No, that's not enough. I'm changing my margins. I want 45% margins. $7.34. We're almost there, but guess what? Amazon, the marketplace, is telling me that even though that example that I gave you here, this 3-pack of lavender soap was being sold for $22.99, which means that each of those bars of soap were around the $7 mark. After you read the 1-star reviews, you realize they were using inadequate inadequate inputs. So I'm not going to compete with them at $7.99. And the African black soap at $8.99 a bar. It's a 3.5 ounce bar. So I'm trying to get to $10 a bar. So I need to come back to my calculator. And this is exactly how I would do this in real life. I would have my calculator up and all these other tabs up, and I would adjust my margins until I'm in line with the marketplace, considering how much I'm spending and investing in my supplies, goat's milk, soap, the best essential oils, yeah. So I need to be rewarded for that, right? So I'm at 45% right now. I need to be at 60% margins. Let's see what we look like. I'm getting there. 75% margins. I'm getting there. I need 90% margins. Okay, that's where we're gonna go. I want 90% margins on my soap. So let me come back over here to the retail tab. So what happens on this front page on this retail tab, and it does the same thing on the wholesale tab too, but I'm just focusing on the retail tab tonight. We get into this once you get into the class. The retail tab tells me that when I add that second cash crop, now all of the burden and the pressure is not on the rabbit poop to help me get to that 10,000. Now I don't need to sell 927 units to get to 10,000 of the rabbit fertilizer. I can sell 463 units now because the rabbit fertilizer has a partner. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. I have introduced another cash crop, took the pressure off the rabbit fertilizer, and now I need to be able to sell 520, okay, bars of soap at $9.62 and 463 bags of poop in order to get to $10,000 a month, right? It's still kind of high, but as you go and you add each cash crop, it gets down and down and down to where you don't have to sell that much of each of those things. That's why Dr. Watley encourages us to have 10 cash crops. It tells me here how many people I need in my database. Now, this database number down here is not a homogeneous number. Why? Because the people who want rabbit poop ain't the same people who want eczema soap. So you're building separate databases for each of these. But what we're going to be doing in the How to Start a Farm in 6 Months class is focusing on the soap. And here's the other thing about being an entrepreneur. It is so difficult to focus, okay? In this 6 months, we are going to focus, okay? So if you have a hard time focusing, guess what? You are in the right place because we're going to focus, because we are going into the holiday season and our family and friends are going to be our first customers. Our wait list, we're going to develop from our social media, which we're going to be using. I'm going to be showing you how to do all of this stuff over 6 months. You don't have to worry about doing it alone. I already know how to build an audience. I already know how to build a following. I already know how to get to monetize YouTube. I already know how to do all of that, okay? I'm just going to show you how to do it, right? And you're going to have to do the work. If you don't, you know, it won't work. I will be honest. I'm not going to do the work for you. But if you're in March wanting to apply for your first grant, have your farm number, and be able to confidently walk into Farm Services Agency with your receipts showing that you are in fact a farm, then the How to Start a Farm in 6 Month class is where you need to be. Are there any questions that I can answer for you tonight? Did y'all get the supply list? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. We would still be purchasing each other's products of choice. Yeah, the purchasing isn't the problem. It's if you as an individual wanted the farm number, you're purchasing the product. There's still the production piece. You have to produce something. And that's where I think you might be kind of on the line a little bit. The class April is, and here's the link to the class. Let me go over here and see. $497 if you pay all at once. You go to outthemudfarm.com. But if you don't want to pay all at once, then you can do it into monthly payments. It's $108 a month. New and beginning farmer on the website. And then you'll go right over to the farming class, and I'll drop this link in the chat so you guys can read more about it. And yes, there is a guarantee, okay? If you do the work and you don't get all the things that I'm saying that you're going to get, which is the farm number and the $1,000 in sales, then you get your money back in March. Okay. Where do we put the price of the class on the sheet? Great question. On the sheet, it would go under cash crop number 1, because soap is going to be your cash crop number 1. You're going to go over here and value add. You're going to come down to equipment, and you're going to put training, and you're going to put $497. John is an entrepreneur. He looks at this as a line item. Okay. That's exactly what it is, right? You price it in to your product. That's how business works, folks. Okay. So here's the other piece on your Schedule F at the end of this year, because technically you will be able, when you file your taxes, if you, let's see here, I don't know, it's not going to be quite 6 months, but you might have sales. You will have sales by December if you're doing the work. So let's just say you start this class and you do sales, right? And you do them in 2023. The Schedule F is going to be your best friend. I'm going to leave you with this, okay? This right here is thebomb.com, especially if you're making good money and you've got a good corporate job with great benefits, right? And you're paying more in taxes than you would like. I am not a tax professional. I am not giving you tax advice. I am telling you as an entrepreneur who has 2 businesses, one of which has done very well, okay? This Schedule F was my friend in 2022, child, okay? Because your girl did not have to pay Uncle Sam this year. Why? Because even though I had one business that was churning out cash, I had my real estate business that I was able to show a loss on, which is not hard to do in real estate because you got all kind of advertising and marketing and all of these different things. The farming threw a loss, okay? And Uncle Sam had to send me money. So if you're in that corporate space, like I said, I'm not a tax professional. I have a CPA, but he was able to depreciate my high tunnel. And that high tunnel that I got, let me just explain. I paid $13,000 and some change for it up front. They sent me $12,000 and some change in cash back. You got to get into ag. I do not know what you're waiting on. I know you guys are like me and you didn't want to join FFA in high school. You wanted to be an attorney. You wanted to be a veterinarian. You wanted to be a lawyer, whatever. The FFA guys had the hats and the John Deeres and all of that. We were sleeping on agriculture. If somebody had told me about this when I was in high school, I probably still wouldn't have listened, I'll be honest. But I am so thankful for it now. You have got to stop sleeping on agriculture. In your corporate work day, start to figure out how you can fit this farming into your overall situation. Do some sales and expenses. Your cost of your class will be a line item on this Schedule F somewhere. I can't see it right off the top of my head. You might have to come down here, other training, right? Bam. Okay. So if you sell all your expenses are going to go here. So if you needed some help on your taxes, I'm just saying, okay, this is another reason to do it. Okay. So that's all I have for you. I kind of wanted to give you an overview of what you could expect logistically from the class, videos in live format, right? I wanted you to understand the purpose of the class. I'm not an expert soap maker. I'm about to make my first batch next week, right with you guys. I'm an expert entrepreneur and I know how to follow instructions. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So if you're taking this class and you want to be like, I'm pulling from all of the resources on this. I've paid for a soaping class. I've got soaping books. I follow instructions and I think I can do that, right? And you get better with practice. So am I an expert soap crafts person? No. I am an expert entrepreneur who is about to learn how to make soap and sell it and make some money. That's what this class is all about. So if you do want somebody who's been making soap for 20 years or 30 years or whatever, there's way better people than me, right? For you to learn from, right? But if you are okay with following instructions and, with me, I give credit where credit is due. So I'm going to tell you where I'm getting my resource and information from, and you can put that together. And a lot of my things that I've been getting from are on YouTube. I've got the books, but I found it more helpful to actually see. I'm a tangential and visual learner, and I know a lot of people have different learning styles. So I like to kind of see, feel, touch, or whatever. But the thing about it is, you know, this is step by step. You have to follow the instructions type of thing. And that's the kind of thing that makes it easy to do. Just follow the instructions. The entrepreneurial side is where a lot of people get hung up. A lot of these soap people on YouTube ain't making no money for real. Okay. That's what I'm getting ready. That's the, if I had to give it an 80-20, this How to Start a Farm in 6 Months class, that's what this is. It's going to be 80 heavy business, 20 soap. Okay. 80 business, 20 soap, right? Our packaging is going to be fire. Your logos are going to be fire. Your customer, all these business marketing, all of that. That's what this class is basically going to be giving you. Okay. All right. I'm done talking. I've run my mouth enough. Do you guys have any more questions? Yes. GP. Oh, John, the class starts on Monday. Who says this? The fact that you have done the research and teaching in the marketing piece makes the class. Yay! Thank you. All right. So GP, come off mute. Feel free.
Okay, I have several questions. So if the class start on Monday, do we have to have all of our equipment? Because it's a lot. You have to get molds and everything.
No, you don't have to have all your equipment.
Okay.
So Monday is going to be the book part, right? Is where we're doing the question and answer. You're watching the video. That's when the video will be unlocked on Monday, right? Tuesday, we're going to be meeting live, and you're going to start to see me. I don't even have all of my supplies in yet. So a lot of my stuff is on the way. So Tuesday's live class, we're just going to be meeting face to face, kind of get a feel for one another. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're online. You're doing some more questions and answers and learning about the science of making soap. Then you really want to go ahead, if you're interested in this class, and get your orders for everything in this week, or at least by no later than Tuesday of next week, because the following week, right, is when we're going to be actively engaging in the making of soap, right? So let me get the calendar pulled up so you can actually see it. And I'll follow up this email. I'll follow up this training with a copy of the calendar so that you guys can see when the live classes are going to happen. The live classes are when the soap is going to be made. So you do have time to order your supplies. So let's look at it from a month perspective.
And is this the only thing that we're going to be doing in the 6 months? I mean, I know how to make soap already, and I do have a lot, mostly everything. Well, I have everything. I just need to get some different molds. But is this the only thing that we're going to do?
No, we're going to be doing a lot of marketing development, a lot of getting your social media ready, attracting your target audience, reconnaissance. See, it's going to be 80 business, right? So when it comes to developing your customer base, you have got to build that audience up, and you got to do that by making Facebook videos, YouTube. You got to do that by making TikToks. And so that's the other piece that I'm going to be bringing in. I'm so glad you asked that question, because you're not going to be able to just to make the soap and then put it out there and then people are going to know that it's there. We're going to have to build the audience first and then be making this. That's secondary. The actual production of the soap is actually secondary. We're going to hit the ground running. And that's another thing. Some of these videos you're going to be watching are going to be in that vein where you're going to be, okay, this is the type of video you need to create. Do you need help creating? And a lot of the things I'm going to do the template video for you, and I'm going to get you to do the voiceover. I'm going to use my software to get the video, to take the thought process of you having to do it. And everybody, yes, is going to have the same video unless you want to make your own custom one, right? But then the thing that's going to make the video unique is going to be that it's going to be your voice. It's going to have the captions on it, 60 seconds for TikTok and Instagram. We're going to do no less than 8 minutes on YouTube. You're going to post that YouTube over to your Facebook business page, which if you don't have, you're going to create during this process. You're going to also create an Instagram. Link in bio. We're going to do stand.store. So there's going to be that side of that too in this class. So no, you're not just going to be making soap.
Okay. So are there any other products we're going to make other than soap? That's what I was really getting at.
I'm going to throw in candles only because it makes sense. Okay.
To pair up with. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense. If you're going to do soap, you must do candles. I started my research on candles, and it's easier than soap. Okay. So floyd-white, I hear you loud and clear with the chemicals. Maybe candles may be the thing. Natural candles. I love candles, but I stopped purchasing them when I realized all the toxins that they throw off. And so the beeswax candles, and you can also use the essential oils for your fragrance in the candle. People want that. Like, people want this all natural. And I just paid $18.75 at the world market for a candle this big around that was beautifully fragranced, right? And it lasted me 3 days, right? But I enjoyed it. It was in my bathroom. It gave off a nice glow. It burned really nicely. And so I want to create that type of quality when it comes to these natural products and the candles. So yes, we will be doing candles in addition to soap. But again, it is 80% business, getting those getting those soap customers front and center, because their pain point allows us to charge a premium. And I got to get you to $1,000 by the end of this. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I got to focus on the product that's going to get you to the $1,000 in sales. So good questions. Any more questions? And I told you I was
My last one is, are you going to start this up in next year? Because if we start now, like if I start now, then it's $1,000 per calendar year, right?
Oh,
So from
yeah,
January to December. So if
yeah.
I'm starting now, and I know if I'm doing cold press soap or even hot press, unless I'm doing melt and pour, but if I'm doing cold press soap, that's
Gotta
going to take
cure it.
about a couple of months to cure.
Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, we're doing both. So on that hot press list, should be a crock pot on there. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, yeah. So we're doing both. So we're gonna be doing both in this class. So on that hot press soap making list, yard sale this stuff, Goodwill this stuff. We're gonna be producing, and for that specific purpose, because like she said, cold processed soap takes weeks to cure. Hot processed soap does not. And if you're trying to get your sales done, you can't sell your soap until it's been cured. So you can't force the sale, right? But what you can do, and here's the other thing that we're going to do in this class, and this is why entrepreneurship is my best friend, is something called the pre-sale. Okay. So don't worry about the dates so much, because what we're going to do is have that wait list, because we're going to create, using social media, that pent up demand, that we're going to be able to track, that we're going to be able to realize that sale is not going to necessarily be fulfilled all in 2023, but we're going to realize that sale in 2023 via that wait list and pre-orders. Great questions. Stuff I didn't even think about, but I'm glad you guys asked. Anybody else got any questions? All right, you guys, drop in the chat. Let me know your feedback on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, this girl is crazy. I didn't learn anything tonight. 10, I can see where this could go for me. I liked what she had to say. I might even sign up for the class, but at the very least, I'm opening my mind up to agriculture as an opportunity. So let me see in the chat. Thank you, Ginger. Thank you so much. Drop in the chat. Definitely changed my mind on so. Okay, awesome, April. Thank you. Teresa the 10. Thank you, sis. Let me know in the chat. I'd love to see your feedback. Thank you, S. Floyd-White. I appreciate it. This video is going to go onto the YouTube channel, so you don't have to worry about logging in or anything like that. Thank you, GP. I'm going to make sure I get it up there and upload it tomorrow, because Zoom takes it a minute to like convert it and whatever the case. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. So I hope to see you guys again. Monday is just you logging in, watching the video. Tuesday, however, you will have an email where you will get a Zoom link, and it'll just be us, those people that are actually in class and ready to get going. Again, we're not going to be making soap next Tuesday, but if you think you're going to be interested in joining the class, you've got the links for the supply list. Go to your Goodwill, folks. Don't go try to buy high-end supplies and equipment. Equipment. We will on the supplies, but not the equipment. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and do my essential oil order and share that in the group, in the module when you log in, so you can kind of see exactly what I'm going to be ordering, and kind of you can copycat me or whatever you want to do. But I might eat ramen for a couple of weeks, because I'm getting the best of the best, because I want my final product to stand out from everybody else's. So thank you so much, Ginger. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so glad that you're here. You don't know how much that makes my heart swell. And I hope to see you guys next week in training. All right, have a good night. Bye-bye. See you soon.